Hello and welcome to the Monsters, Myths, and Mayhem podcast. Silver's here in the building. And in a different building, we have our wonderful co-host.
Chaotic.
I have no clue what we're doing today.
Today is LGBTQ oriented because it is Pride. Happy Pride. By the time this comes out, Pride might be over, but that's okay. We recorded it in June. That's what matters.
Yes, happy Pride.
And we're not stressing Silver to edit on time for this to be out in the next 2 days. So if it's not out in the next 2 days, that's on Chaotic because Chaotic forgot about recording and baseball schedule has been crazy.
If this is out within the next 2 to 3 days, still in June, then
Happy Pride.
yes.
Would you like to know what we're doing today? Would you like to take a guess at what we're doing today?
We've already covered Medusa.
Mm-hmm.
Dionysus.
I almost went with Dionysus. I almost did. I chose not to.
Final guess, Aphrodite.
Oh, no. I love her. She's the goddess of love, but no. Coming in a close second to her, though, Apollo. You know why I chose Apollo?
Not because of Apollo and Lower Olympus, I hope.
No, I hate Apollo and Lower Olympus. He is one of the few gods that actually had a same-sex marriage.
Ooh.
Yes. Because all of them, like every Greek god was like bisexual and pansexual. But he was the only one to have actually married someone of the same.
Did he marry a god, a demigod, or a human?
Oh, you asked too fast. He married a god. He actually married the Greek god of marriage, Hymen.
Huh. He married him? I thought Hera was god of marriage, or goddess of marriage.
No, Hera is the goddess of motherhood, I think. Yeah, she's the goddess of women, marriage, and childbirth.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Hymen is the god of marriage and marriage songs. So.
Now, marriage songs, just any songs played at a marriage, or are they specific?
I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, like nowadays you can play the freaking Empire Strikes Back if you want. You know what I mean? Like you can just go full out all Lucasfilms songs if you'd like. But I'd imagine back then it was like specific hymns, you know?
Yeah. Something played on a harp or a pan flute or instruments of the time.
Yeah.
Like the electric guitar.
Speaking of instruments, Apollo was the god of so many things that he actually got confused. Like he got confused for a lot of people. He is the god of practically everything. He's most famously known as the god of the sun, because his flip side is goddess of the hunt, which is the goddess of the night, which is Artemis. So he's most known for his sun, but the next in line would probably be like music and poetry. He's very well known for art, truth, archery, which he shares with Artemis. Artemis is also the goddess again of the hunt, archery, healing, light. The original like sun god was Helios. He was actually a Titan. But Apollo took that role pretty quick when it kind of flipped from Titans to gods after the war. Music is probably, like I said, one of the biggest ones. So speaking of guitar, you know, he's a I don't know what I'm trying to say, like a rootin' tootin' fan of concerts, which might be why he liked Hymen so much, because Hymen again is the god of marriage songs. But that's not his only LGBTQ relationship. He did also have a thing with I'm gonna butcher this, Tamaris, a Thracian singer. So again, another musically inclined male. And that was like the first ever heard of or public male on male relationship. It was actually one of the first noted relationships amongst the gods. And I cannot pronounce this man's name to save my life. Hyacinthos. He's a human. He was actually the prince of Sparta. And Apollo fell in love with him and taught him how to play music and hunt. And he actually, it was a three-way. It was a three-way
Oh,
relationship. It was polyamorous. And it was with oh shoot,
Helen of Troy.
no, Zephyrius. And Zephyrius actually ended up killing Hyacinth, Prince Boy. He actually ended up killing the prince by throwing a discus at his head because he got so jealous.
That's kind of brutal.
Yeah, he died via discus because they were so upset in their polyamory relationship.
Okay. Isn't Zephyrus like the goddess of wind or god of wind? Or he has something to do with wind, I think. Or there's another Zephyr that's wind related.
Zephyrius was the god of the west wind, commonly also known as Zephyrios instead of Zephyrius, but either one.
Weird fun fact: Zephyrus is also a Yu-Gi-Oh card
Oh,
in the Blackwing series, which was my archetype I ran all the time.
nice. One of his female relationships was actually, and this one's one of his most famous ones, is Daphne. Their story, if nobody remembers, Apollo was struck by Cupid to fall in love with Daphne, and Daphne was actually struck with a leaden arrow, which caused her to be completely repulsed by Apollo. And the river god, her father, I think his name is Peneus. He actually turned her into a tree permanently just so she could escape Apollo's advances because he was aggressively wanting her because he had been hit by an arrow.
That is also quite extreme, but also quite effective.
Mm-hmm. Apollo is very competitive. He turned King Midas's ears into donkey ears once because he didn't choose him as the best. I think it was either harp or it was some kind of contest with a
Yeah.
yeah. So he just
The satyrs we talked about in that episode.
yeah, he just turned his ears into a freaking donkey. It was just like, I don't like you, I'm upset by this. And then the satyr, Marcius, got flayed alive for beating him. So, GG easy. So another fun fact, because again, we're Pride Month, woohoo! Apollo is very dramatic and very among the flair. Hera got mad that Zeus slept with Apollo's mom, Leto, and tried to kill her. While Leto was pregnant, Hera sent a python to attack her, and then like a giant at one point. And Apollo, being upset, literally just with one arrow took both of them down. Was like, no, we're not going to do this today, and just killed them. And he was only 4 years old when he defeated the python. So he's a little crazy, little dramatic.
Yeah.
Little,
Well, Hercules did the same thing in the Disney movie, but that was just Pain and Panic.
True.
But Apollo's still definitely quite a feat for such a young age.
Yes. He lost his powers twice to Zeus. Zeus decided twice that Apollo was too dramatic and too bold and took his powers and then gave them back. So, all is forgiven, whatever. So yeah, that's pretty much all of the fun facts I have. Oh, he likes cows a lot. Hermes stole half of his herd, like 50 of his herd or something at one point, and Apollo went to go kill him. And Hermes was like, yo, look at this lyre that I made. And Apollo was like, hold up. If you give me that, you can keep my cows. So he just traded his whole herd for a musical instrument. After being so dead set on killing Hermes for these cows. just up and decided that wasn't worth, what he was fine after he saw the lyre. He was like, oh, this is neat.
Maybe he knew about the lyre and was pretending to be angry.
He was just joking. It's just a joke.
Seemed like an awful quick switch.
Yeah, that does. That does. As I said before, he has a lot of really interesting stories. Daphne is one of his most interesting. And then, like, obviously, he had a whole lover that was killed by Odysseus. But due to the fact that he was the god of poems, I did find a poem to read for us today. It's by
Ooh.
John Keats. It's been done within the last decade, so it's not a super ancient one that none of us are going to understand. But I'm going to read it out, and then we can move into the media portion if we'd like.
Okay, quick question.
Yeah.
Is the poem a remastered poem about him? Like an old one turned new? Or is it a new one? Newish?
This one doesn't tell me the exact print date. Hang on. It's estimated to be done around 1815.
So semi new, but also old.
Yes, and remastered recently by the National Poetry Day Guild, actually. Yeah, just a little easier to understand, basically. But I'm gonna read it out. God of the golden bow, and of the golden lyre, and of the golden hair, and of the golden fire, charioteer of the patient year, where slept thine ire? When, like a blank idiot, I put on my wreath, thy laurel, thy glory, thy light of thy story, or was I a worm too low crawling for death? O Delphic Apollo! The thunderer grasped and gasped, and the thunderer frowned and frowned. The eagle's feathery mane, for wrath became stiffened, the sound of breeding thunder went drowsily under, muttering to the unbound, "Oh, why didst thou pity for a worm? Why touch thy soft lute till the thunder was mute? Why was not I crushed, such a pitiful germ? O Delphic Apollo!" The Pleiads were up, watching the silent air. The seed and the roots in the earth were swelling for late summer fair. The ocean, its neighbor, was old at its labor, when who did dare to tie like a madman thy plant around his brow, a grin look proudly and blasphemy so loud, and live for that honor to stoop to thee now, O Delphic Apollo. That is his most famous poem ever written about him.
It's one of the first stanzas. You said
Mhm.
golden hair. What popped into my mind was just a golden rabbit. Instead of it took me a second. I was like, oh, he was
He
blonde.
has golden hair. It was a good try, though. On to media.
Media.
So for media, obviously the first one that pops to my mind is Lore Olympus. The Apollo that is in Lore Olympus acts like the Apollo that was stricken by Cupid's arrow against Daphne almost the entire time. He's very aggressive. He pushes a lot. He forces himself on Persephone. So if you guys have not read Lore Olympus, there are some assault triggers. He gets very aggressive with Persephone and does some pretty bad things. I, from as far as I know, he wasn't intentionally that aggressive at all times. It sounded like he had a lot of lovers that actually returned the sentiment of enjoying him. So I would like to think he wasn't entirely like that. But then again, we are talking about Greek gods, and a lot of them just kind of did what the fuck they wanted. So you never know. But I thought he'd be a good subject because in a lot of his media, he is portrayed as bisexual.
I don't know of any off the top of my head about with Apollo in it. Maybe Hercules, the animated series.
I'm sure he's in there.
There's a couple webtoons I think Apollo's in.
Yes, there's a lot of Greek webtoons. I know that he is. There's like I want to say it's like an anime. Actually, yes, because Bird and I just looked this up. It's a brand new Netflix anime, and it's got all of the Greek gods in it, and Apollo is in it.
Blood of Zeus.
Maybe Twilight of the Gods.
Yeah, never heard of that one.
Yeah, it's a new Zack Snyder one. I'd imagine he's in some other things, but those are most commonly where he's represented right now in pop culture. His main being in Lore Olympus. That's one of his biggest pop culture moments right now. He's in Bird and I's writing all the time. We write him all the time. Nobody sees that though.
Till your book comes out.
It's not. That's not what our book's about. Don't get everybody
Oh,
excited. Ooh, I take it back. Twilight of the Gods has an Apollo-esque person in it, but it's actually about Norse gods.
huh.
The Norse equivalent is Balder in the new Twilight series. But the Blood of Zeus, the series currently on Netflix that you can watch right now, does have Apollo in it. I was weighing doing, I thought about doing Narcissus. I thought about actually doing either Athena, Artemis, or I think it's Hestia. They're the goddesses that took the pact of virginity, so they're actually asexual
Yeah.
in nature. And you know, big spoiler alert, those are both my flags by an ace. So I was just looking at things that represented my flag. But I thought it'd be cooler to do Apollo just because, number one, he was the first one to actually have an out in the open male on male marriage. He was the first ever recorded male on male relationship that was an actual relationship and not just Zeus doing something to somebody. And I thought it was just really unique to know that he was not shy in his loving nature. So
Seems like a lot of the Greeks weren't really too shy in it.
yeah, but you got to think like Zeus never settled down with anybody of the same gender. He was
True.
just out there doing things to people whether they wanted them or not. You know what I mean? So it wasn't, he
Hmm.
was like, Apollo was one of the first people to actually like have a relationship with someone of the same. So I just thought he was neat to do.
Yeah. Even Hercules' male relationship that he had, I
Hmm.
forget his name though. I think he ended up leaving him in the underworld by accident.
By accident.
I
Quote,
think.
quote.
It's been a while since I looked up that story of Hercules.
Hmm.
Yeah, but that's neat that he's the first one to get married.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I thought it was a neat little twist to it. Now, on to mayhem, which generally tends to be the same with Greek gods, but we can do this nonetheless. I think he'd be a great, like a great orchestra or choir teacher. I don't think he'd be a good band teacher. I think he's definitely more with like stringed instruments. So I feel like he'd do better in orchestra and or choir just because of the notes.
I'd say probably orchestra.
I agree. I think he'd be a better orchestra teacher slash composer. Just don't get better than him. That's the only advice I can give you. If you get better than him in the class, you may walk out with donkey ears or die. You might get flayed alive in front of the whole orchestra. So you never know.
He was also turned into a wineskin.
Oh, I love that for us.
So you don't want to be drinking out of your buddy's wineskin.
No, thank you. That does not sound pleasant. I don't think, I mean, as per usual, if he really existed, if he was really here on Earth, I mean, I feel like we'd have the same reign of terror as when the gods actually reigned. You know, lots of half godlings running around, a lot of unexplained births. I feel like it'd be a
Yeah,
little insane down here.
at least Apollo's not quite as bad as Zeus.
True. I don't think anybody's as bad as Zeus.
Poseidon's also quite bad.
Yeah, they're all kind of bad, to be honest. Um, you know, when I was going through and looking at all of this, when I thought about doing the asexual research on like Athena, you know what
Mhm.
makes me the most upset about all that? So when they took their vows to remain pure under Zeus, that meant that they could not feel any kind of, he like granted them the chance to feel no feel emotion like a tie like love. So they're unable to reciprocate that, and Athena is the one who had Medusa hurt.
Oh yeah, because of jealousy.
Yep, because Poseidon took her in her temple.
So was this before they took the vow? Athena did this.
Nope.
It was
Nope.
after.
They took that vow almost right off the rip. And Medusa was working in Athena's temple. Poseidon showed up, made Medusa do things, and then Athena punished as a literal guild of women who protect women was like, you know what? Not that one though.
Yeah.
It's upsetting. Anyways, I just had to get that off my chest.
So Zeus didn't take away all emotions. Missed one.
Yep. No, he was just supposed to take romantic emotion, but I guess jealousy stuck around.
Is jealousy a only romantic emotion?
No. I get jealous of my friends all the time, so it's definitely not just romantic. Still unfair of Athena, regardless.
Yes. Not cool, Athena.
Not cool. If you can hear me, square up. Please don't actually square up. You're terrifying. But like I would do it for my homegirl Medusa, you know? I'd do it. I'd try. It wouldn't be successful, but I'd try.
Apollo is also in, I just remembered media wise, Hades.
Oh yes. Yes, he is.
I'm not sure about Hades 2, but Hades 1, I think Apollo's in.
He is not in Hades 2. Not that I know of. I don't think he's in Hades.
He's not?
I think he's in Hades 2 because Artemis is in Hades. Apollo's only mentioned by Orpheus once in the first Hades. He's in the new Hades though. He is. I knew that. I had an idea of that because they kind of did like polar opposites of everybody because like Nyx is in the first one, but Hecate's in the second one.
I've just seen gameplay of it, so I haven't.
Yeah, I'm obsessed, so I apologize. But yeah, they did like and then like Achilles is there for Hades 1, and in Hades 2 it's Odysseus. So like they switch off. Like they have the polar opposites there. It's just they're not in each other's games because it was like they brought all the other characters out for Hades 2.
That's neat.
Mhm.
I think he also might be in Stray Gods.
I don't know, I've not played that.
It's a Stray Gods is pretty much Greek gods meets musical.
Okay. That's cool. That's actually pretty freaking neat.
Laura Bailey is one of the singers and voice actors in it, and she also plays on Critical Role.
I love that. I'm gonna add that to my wish list. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had.
That's it.
That's it.
With that, I guess we'll wrap things up. Guess what, Chaotic?
What?
We do have a new Patreon member.
Oh.
So our newest member of the patron is Dave Baxter. Then continuing their patronage, we still got Ruby, Mage, and Mondi.
Woo!
Thank you guys so much for supporting the show.
Yeah, nerds.
And as of show news, we're nearing episode 100, as this is episode 98. Have you figured out what we're doing, Chaotic?
No.
Neither have I.
Oh, okay.
Well, we'll figure something out. So, any news, Chaotic?
Oh. No, question mark. I will be hosting a another mystery dinner coming up if anybody would like to join that murder mystery dinner. Other than that, no, I don't have anything.
Don't got nothing?
Don't got nothing.
You got your new recording coming up.
Yeah, we're doing that on Friday. And once again, if you would like to read along with us, we are reading Kiri's. It is the fourth in the series of the Chicago Ruthless Mob story. So if you'd like to catch up, feel free, or you can just read Kiri's and go from there with us. It's up to you entirely. That's what we'll be discussing. We will be discussing the whole series, not just Kiri's. We've just recently read the whole series. Kiri's is just the last installment, and it just came out. So I'm very excited to cover it, and I hope everybody enjoys it. Should be out mid-July at the latest, but hopefully in the first few weeks of July. Other than that, not a whole lot. Got another In Case of Monsters Break Glass coming out. I've been working for a brand new nonprofit that has just come about, so I've been doing a lot of content writing for them, so it's been a little harder to squeeze writing in between, but it will be coming soon.
Alrighty then. I guess with that, Chaotic with the outro.
Do. Thank you for listening to the Monsters, Myths, and Mayhem podcast. Silver and Chaotic take you into the depth of the lore and discuss how these legends could affect modern-day society. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or almost any podcast service easiest to you. Dive into the depths of chaos with us every Wednesday, bar Silver and Chaotic not missing their scheduling, and consider joining the podcast Discord or Twitter following even more insider looks and even some D&D sessions. If you'd like some extra special inside looks or even want to be a guest on the show, consider helping us via Patreon. Your help makes such a big difference to us both. Until next time, Mythics, you never know what kind of mayhem we might get into.